Welcome back to the deep dive. So today we're opening up a file that, at first glance, looks like it belongs in the sports section.
Totally. You see motorcycles, racetracks, you think adrenaline.
Exactly, but then you start, actually reading through the sources, the industry analysis, the social media metrics, all the transcripts, and you realize, oh, this is actually a case study.
It's a case study in, cultural diplomacy and market disruption.
Yeah. It's one of those stories where the vehicle, sure, it's a motorcycle, but the engine driving everything is really about shifting demographics and, well, global economics.
It really is.
So we're going to start with a little bit of a head fake. If I say the name Annie in the context of daredevils, your brain probably goes right to a history book.
Right. You're likely thinking of Annie Edson Taylor, the school teacher.
The one who, what was it, back in 1901, decided that her 401k plan was basically going to be climbing into a wooden barrel and going over Niagara Falls.
Which, to be fair, is a level of grit that is. It's just hard to comprehend. That was pure survival as a spectacle.
It absolutely was. But today, we are fast-forwarding over a century. We're pivoting from wooden barrels to carbon fiber and high-performance engines.
A whole different world.
We are talking about a different Annie, Annie Prisana, also known in the racing world as Annie Prisana.
And unlike the historical Annie, who was sort of a curiosity, this Annie is a genuine powerhouse.
Right.
She's a Thai national, a professional racer, and what the data explicitly classifies as a macro influencer.
And we aren't just using that word lightly. We've got a whole stack of sources here. I'm talking transcripts of her technical reviews, some really deep articles from iMoto.my, and global influencer rankings.
And those rankings are significant. I mean, she is currently sitting at number 18 on the global list.
At 18 worldwide.
Yeah, worldwide.
Yeah.
That puts her in the absolute top tier, not just, in Southeast Asia.
So our mission today is to really unpack that journey. We want to figure out how someone goes from, I guess, scraping their knees on a wet racetrack in Chonburi to becoming Boss Annie,
Right.
a figurehead who is effectively the diplomat between American heavyweights like Harley-Davidson and the booming Asian market.
It's a story about breaking stereotypes, for sure,
Yeah.
but it's also about technical competence. You
Right.
just can't fake the kind of influence she has.
Let's start at the beginning then, the track. Because I think there's this cynical tendency, when people hear influencer, to assume it's all just poses and filters.
Oh, absolutely. The industry stigma.
Mm.
Sitting on a park bike, looking cool.
But the documentation on Annie's career, it just destroys that pretty quickly. She didn't start as a model. She started in the R2M Duke race series.
Yeah.
For the uninitiated, can we break that down? Is R2M just a casual Sunday ride?
Oh, far from it. R2M stands for Racing to the Moon.
Okay.
It's a serious, competitive series in Thailand. And the KTM Duke class she raced in, that is a naked bike. It's torque-heavy, it's twitchy, and the racing is incredibly tight.
So it's a contact sport.
It is basically a contact sport. In that class, she's in the trenches.
Right.
And there's one specific incident in the research that really, I think, establishes her whole ethos. It happened at a race in Chonburi. The sources describe the track conditions as a wet water slide.
Which is just the nightmare scenario, right? You've got two tiny contact patches of rubber, and suddenly the asphalt is basically ice.
It's ice. And in this race, she pushed it too hard. She had what they call a low side.
Okay, so let's get technical for a second. What actually happens in the low side crash?
So a low side usually happens in a corner. You're leaned over, and your tires, either the front or both of them, just lose traction.
Okay.
And because you're already leaning, the bike just slides out from under you, and you follow it sliding across the pavement. It's different from a high side, which is way more violent.
It throws you.
Yeah, where it launches you.
Yeah.
A low side is generally safer, but you're still sliding at, high speed into the runoff area.
And the report says she ended up eating the grass.
She did. And this is where the influencer playbook usually says, you delete the footage, you pretend it never happened, only show the victory lap.
Right. Keep the image pristine.
Annie did the exact opposite. She posted the crash, she showed the failure, and her commentary on it was really, really insightful. She used the phrase, falling doesn't mean losing.
Falling doesn't mean losing. I mean, that is such a stoic mindset.
It's a racer's mindset.
Mm-hmm.
She framed the crash as part of the data gathering process. She basically argued that you cannot find the absolute limit of the machine, especially in the wet, unless you cross that limit.
So by crashing, she proved she was actually pushing to its failure point.
Exactly. That immediately separates the real riders from the posers. It tells her audience, I'm not just posing with this machine, I am fighting with it.
And that builds trust. An incredible amount of trust. So when she later reviews a bike and talks about, say, suspension damping, you believe her because you've seen her test those limits.
That authenticity is the bedrock of her brand. And she took that credibility and used it to really go after the stereotypes. I mean, we have to talk about the term biker chick.
Right. It is a loaded term. Historically, it's been pretty dismissive.
Yeah. For decades, biker chick usually meant the passenger, the backpack. The ornament on the back of the seat while the guy does the actual riding.
Or just an aesthetic prop at a bike show.
Exactly. Annie Prisana has been actively dismantling that archetype. She founded an organization called Biker Chicks Thailand, or BCT.
And reading about BCT, this is not just a fan club or, a Facebook group for sharing memes.
No, not at all. It's structured much more like a professional guild. They have regional chapters like Biker Chicks Northern, which focuses on the mountainous riding up in northern Thailand.
And the hierarchy is explicit. She's known internally as Boss Annie.
Boss Annie. Yeah, that implies operational command, doesn't it?
It does, and the activities reflect that. I mean, sure, they have social meetups, coffee runs are mentioned, but the core of the group is skill acquisition.
That's the key. We found reports of them running technical drills, how to pop wheelies, how to navigate obstacle courses, and doing these serious off-road enduro trips.
There was one member mentioned in the notes that just blew my mind. Pumpui.
Yes, Pumpui is the perfect case study for what BCT produces. She is not just a casual rider. She was a champion of the GS Trophy 2022 qualifier.
Okay, we need to pause on that because the GS Trophy is a huge deal.
It's arguably the toughest amateur off-road challenge in the world. It's run by BMW. You are wrestling these massive, like 500-pound adventure bikes over logs, through mud pits.
It's insane.
It requires immense physical strength and just incredible technical finesse.
So for a member of Annie's group to represent Thailand internationally in the GS Trophy, that just proves this is not a social club.
Exactly. It proves that BCT is a breeding ground for serious talent. Boss Annie is creating a space where women are moving from the passenger seat to the handlebars of some of the most difficult machines on the market.
Which brings us to the business side of all this. Because when you cultivate a demographic like that, highly skilled, engaged women, the big global brands, they start picking up the phone.
That's the key. And Annie has positioned herself as a kind of diplomat between East and West. What's so unique is her versatility. Most influencers, they pick a lane, You're a sport bike rider, or a Harley guy, or a dirt rider.
Right.
Annie is all three.
So let's unpack the American connection first, Harley-Davidson. Culturally, that feels like the biggest gap to bridge.
It's a massive contrast, isn't it?
Yep.
You have Harley-Davidson, which is pure American heritage, heavy steel, interstate highways. And then you have the Asian market, which is often denser, the roads are different.
And she's a member of the hashtag Harley-Davidson Freedom Crew. Her job is basically to translate that big iron ethos for a new demographic.
Right. And she reviewed the 2024 Road Glide. Now, for listeners who don't know, the Road Glide is a beast.
It is a beast. It's a bagger. Huge fairing, hard bags, massive engine. It is heavy.
We're talking well over 800 pounds wet. And Annie is. Well, she's not large. She's a petite Thai woman.
But looking at the transcript of her review, she doesn't shy away from that at all.
No. She confronts it head on. She calls the bike a beast. But then she pivots to the ergonomics. She breaks down how the seat material and the handlebar pullback allow a small person, her words, to manage all that torque.
That is such actionable, high-value advice. I mean, if you're a 5'2" woman looking at a Harley, that spec sheet is terrifying. You think, I can't ride that.
But then you see Annie do it, and it changes the entire equation.
It's the normalization effect.
Totally. And she didn't just ride it to a cafe. She took the Harley to the Sepang International Circuit in Malaysia.
Wait, she took a road glide to an F1 track.
She did, for the Dirt Road and Track event. It was the first time Harley brought it out of Thailand to Sepang. She was scrubbing the floorboards of a bagger on a world-class circuit.
That's incredible. It shows the bike has capabilities you wouldn't expect, and it shows she has the skill to find them.
Precisely. But then she completely flips the script and goes to the Italians, Ducati.
This is the polar opposite of Harley.
Right. Ducati is all about elite engineering, MotoGP tech, high-strung performance. And Annie works with Ducati Thailand, promoting the Panigale V4S.
That's a rocket ship. It's basically a race bike with lights.
It is. So by riding that, she captures the demographic that cares about precision and speed. But then she also pushes the Ducati Desert X Rally,
The off-road beast.
the one that looks like a Dakar rally bike.
Hmm.
So she's covering the track and the desert for an Italian luxury brand while also selling the American cruiser lifestyle.
And we can't leave out the Japanese connection, Honda.
Right, this is where she hits the mass market. She's a central figure in the CRF Dirter campaign for the Honda CRF 300L.
Which is known as the people's dual sport, right? It's reliable, affordable, go anywhere.
Correct. And here, the content shifts again. It's not about speed or chrome. It's about the enduro lifestyle. She's documenting camping trips to remote places like Baloco.
Strapping a tent to the back and just disappearing.
Exactly. And I noticed in the notes, she addresses the height issue here as well. Because even though the CRF is a small engine, it's a tall bike,
Right, dirt bikes have high seats for ground clearance.
which can be terrifying for a shorter rider. You can't put both feet flat on the ground. So Annie provides these practical techniques like the one-cheek sneak, where you slide off the seat to get a foot down. She says, look, I have short legs. This bike is tall. Here is the technique to handle it.
It's just so practical. She's not just showing off, she's actually solving the physical problems that prevent her audience from buying the bike.
She removes the barrier to entry, and that's why she ranks so high globally.
So let's look at the numbers and the broader impact. We mentioned she's ranked number 18 on the top 100 female motorcycle influencers list for 2026.
A global list. To be in the top 20 from Thailand is a massive achievement. She has about 289,000 Instagram followers, and the data, like we said, calls her a macro influencer.
But beyond the follower count, I want to talk about that economic ripple effect. You mentioned adventure tourism earlier. How does one person on a bike actually drive tourism?
Well, think about the content loop she creates. She rides that Honda CRF to some remote village in northern Thailand. The video looks amazing. Misty mountains, muddy trails, incredible local food.
So her followers don't just want the bike.
They want the experience. So they buy the bike, they buy the gear, and then they book a trip to Chiang Mai.
Wow. So she's effectively a one-woman tourism board for the entire region.
She really is. The local coffee shops, the guest houses in places like Baluko, they see a real economic benefit from the traffic she's directing there. She's selling the destination just as much as the machine.
It's a whole ecosystem. And she's leveraging this for social causes, too. The Distinguished Gentleman's Ride came up in the research.
GGR. Yeah, it's a huge global charity event raising money for men's health. And the whole gimmick is that everyone dresses dapper tweed suits, classic bikes.
It's usually very well, gentlemanly.
It's in the name. But Annie participated in the Chiang Mai ride as a local celebrity lady rider. And the analysis after the event showed that her presence just significantly spiked the female turnout.
She made it inclusive.
She did. The event became this massive citywide thing, ending with a fundraising auction. It proves she can mobilize her community for philanthropy, not just for commerce.
So if we pull back and look at the big picture here, we have Annie Prisana. She starts as a racer who's willing to crash to get faster.
Right.
She builds this biker chick empire that is all about technical skill, not just looks. And now she is the bridge between Asian riders and the biggest motorcycle brands on earth.
She has proven a fundamental truth to the industry. Women are not a secondary market. They're not accessories. They are active, technical, sophisticated consumers who want high-performance machines.
And crucially, she proves they are buyers of everything from an American cruiser to an Italian superbike.
Exactly. Annie Prisana is living proof that you can sell the lifestyle, but it won't convert to sales if you have the throttle control to back it up.
It's a fascinating evolution for the industry, but it does raise a question about, where we get our information now.
That's the thought I want to leave you with today. We're seeing the lines blur. Annie is a racer, a brand ambassador, a community leader, and a reviewer all at once.
She's wearing a lot of hats.
A lot. And in the past, if you wanted to know if a Ducati was good, you'd buy a magazine. You'd read a review by a journalist who supposedly had no skin in the game.
The quote-unquote objective expert.
Right. But now, trust is shifting to figures like Annie. She lives the brand. When she says a bike works for her, her audience trusts that because they see her struggle with it and master it every single day on Instagram.
So authenticity is becoming the new objectivity.
Exactly. And if Boss Annie is the future of automotive media, are we seeing the end of traditional journalism? Is the future just personalities who can ride harder than the rest of us?
That is a spicy take to chew on while you're scrolling through your feed today. Thanks for riding along with us on the deep dive.
Ride safe.